What if I told you the war in heaven didn't end with the fall, but with a vengeance so divine even angels trembled? These weren't ordinary women, and their children were never meant to exist. Then came Michael, not just to battle the fallen, but to confront the very women who bore their cursed blood. Before we unveil the shocking truth of what Archangel Michael did to the wives of the fallen angels, make sure you subscribe to our channel, The Bible Stories. Tap the red button and ring the bell icon, because each week we reveal the mysteries buried deep within ancient scripture, stories that were silenced, hidden, or forgotten. Don't miss what heaven has been waiting for you to see. In the time before the flood, earth was no longer a paradise. It had become a canvas of corruption. The sons of God, fallen angels known as the Watchers, had descended from their posts in heaven, drawn by lust. They took human women, and from this forbidden union came the Nephilim, giants of violence and madness who crushed the world beneath their feet. The wives of the fallen angels were not ordinary women. They were drawn into a world beyond human understanding. Some were willing, others were taken, but all bore children not meant for this world, hybrids of flesh and spirit. The women were revered, feared, and in time, corrupted. The children within them pulsed with power and ancient knowledge. The Watchers taught their wives forbidden arts, astrology, charms, potions, even blood magic. These women became priestesses of darkness, spreading the teachings of their husbands, until the earth groaned under the weight of their legacy. For a time heaven remained silent, but the cries of the righteous rose like incense. The corruption on earth, seeded through the wombs of the women, threatened to spread beyond time itself. And so the Most High summoned his host, and Michael stepped forward. With thunder in his voice, God gave the command. "Go," he said, "bind the Watchers beneath the mountains. Scatter their seed. Cleanse the earth." Michael's mission was not only against the fallen angels, but also against what they had created, including the women. Michael, the warrior of heaven, tore through the veil. He descended not in peace but in fire. He did not plead. He did not warn. He had seen the cost of inaction before. This time the reckoning would be total. The first of the women stood unafraid. They had seen their husbands, the Watchers, call down fire. They thought they could control angels. But Michael was not one of them. He spoke only once. "Your children will fall. Your names will be erased." Every altar built to honor the Nephilim was torn asunder. The chants of the women became screams. The false power they had clung to shattered in the presence of heaven's fire. Michael's sword cleaved their legacy from the land. Some fell to their knees, pleading for mercy. They spoke of ignorance, of love, of lies told by their angelic husbands. But heaven does not judge by tears, only by truth. And the truth was, they had brought death into the world. The Nephilim were too dangerous to remain. Heaven intervened directly. The children of the fallen were taken, removed from history, their bodies turned to dust, their spirits bound for judgment. The women wailed, but their cries did not stop the decree. Those who survived were cast into the wastelands. Not slain but separated. Exiled to wander until the last day. Some became myth, others madness. And some still wait for their lovers beneath the mountain chains. The blood of the fallen's wives could not be erased, so it was marked. A divine curse settled on their lineage, that they would carry within them a hunger for power, a thirst for forbidden knowledge. This wasn't just punishment, it was containment. For God knew, if left unchecked, their influence would rise again. The fallen angels, the Watchers, were not destroyed. They were bound. Imprisoned beneath the earth, beneath mountains and rivers, where no prayer could reach and no rebellion could rise. And still, their wives wandered, whispering the names of their imprisoned husbands into the wind. Even the mightiest angel feels sorrow. Michael did not enjoy destruction. He was heaven's sword, not its judge. Yet as he gazed upon the ash-laden valleys and the remnants of what had been, he whispered only one word: mercy. For even wrath serves righteousness. Long after the flood, their influence returned. In the shadow of Babel, women who traced their bloodline to the Watchers taught men to reach the heavens through stone and sorcery. The curse had survived, and so had their hunger. Tales speak of forbidden scrolls, texts passed from mother to daughter, taught in secret, filled with the knowledge that once summoned angels from heaven. These scrolls were not myths. They were the echoes of Enoch's warnings, the very knowledge that damned a generation. Many believe the bloodlines vanished. But Scripture never said so. What if the daughters of the fallen angels still walk among us? Not wielding swords, but influence? Not magic, but deception? Waiting, watching until the appointed time. In the heavenly realms there is a book. Not the book of life, but the book of remembrance. In it are written the names of those who resisted darkness, and those who embraced it. The names of the women were there too, marked, watched, awaiting final judgment. The enemy does not rest. As in the days of Enoch, whispers rise again. Across the earth, old cults revive, ancient symbols resurface, and the same lie is whispered, you shall be like gods. But Michael stands ready. Though chained, the fallen still speak. They do not need to rise, only to be heard. In dreams, in symbols, in obsession their voices return. And many of their wives or their daughters still listen. Michael carries more than judgment, he carries separation. His sword divides truth from deception, spirit from flesh, holy from profane. And once drawn, it leaves no middle ground. You are either for heaven, or against it. There was one mountain where the final confrontation took place. Fire burst from the peak. Light tore the sky. And the last gathering of the women, those who had not yet bowed, faced the wrath they never believed would come. Not all were evil. Some were caught in a story written long before their birth. And heaven heard their cry. Even as Michael struck down the wicked, angels were sent to rescue the innocent. Because mercy always walks alongside judgment. A few children, half human, half angel, were spared. Hidden by Michael in secret sanctuaries. They would never rise to power, never rule, never conquer. But their existence proved one thing, that not even darkness can completely erase light. Michael vowed before heaven, never again will the seed of the fallen infect the earth. His mission would not end until the last shadow faded, until the last memory of the rebellion was forgotten, or judged. Centuries later, John of Patmos would see it. The same war, the same angel, the same serpent. Michael's war is not over. It continues, in realms we cannot see, and in choices we make every day. Far below the earth, beneath even Sheol, lies Tartarus, a prison not of human design but of divine fury. Here the watchers remain bound, their cries silent, their wings broken. It is not just stone that holds them, but judgment itself. And above them, the memory of their wives lingers like ash in the wind. Among the most wicked of the fallen was Azazel, and through him the women were taught the arts of warfare, vanity, and sorcery. His scroll bore the records of what he gave them. Michael retrieved it, sealed it with flame, and cast it into the pit so that the earth might never remember. Sin doesn't vanish, it travels. From one generation to the next, the influence of the Watchers and their wives infected hearts and bloodlines. Through ancient rites, hidden cults, and unholy oaths, the legacy survived. But Michael tracked them. He knew the signs. He had seen them before. They came not with swords but with voices. Women descended from the cursed bloodline taught that knowledge was salvation, that self-worship was holy. They dressed it in progress, cloaked it in truth. But behind the smile was the same serpent from Eden, whispering again. Even in the darkest times, a remnant remains. There are those who reject the whisper, who silence the old songs, who see through the veil. To them Michael is not a myth. He is their protector. And the war they fight is not of flesh, but spirit. Those who seek God sometimes see more than they ask for. Prophets throughout history were shown the return of the old rebellion, the rise of the bloodline, the awakening of the fallen's children. And always, they saw Michael at the front lines. In Revelation she is called Babylon, the harlot. But her roots go deeper. She is the echo of those ancient women, clothed in power, drunk on deception. She claims to be bride to a god, but the god she serves was cast from heaven long ago. Before every mission, Michael returns to the throne. Not for orders but for strength. His sword glows in the presence of the Almighty, sharpened by obedience. The war is not his alone. He fights with heaven behind him, and truth as his flame. The one who walked with God saw it all before it began. Enoch warned us of the women, the children, the angels, and the end. His book, cast aside by men, remains a treasure of heaven. For in it lies the blueprint of Michael's campaign, and our survival. Not all of the seed was destroyed. A child born in secret escaped the sword. neither fully angel nor fully man. He will decide nothing, yet everything will be decided through him. Michael watches closely, for if this child turns, earth could become Eden or Tartarus. Angels still walk among us, not with wings but with purpose. Some protect. Some deliver warnings. Some simply watch. And Michael, though radiant, is no stranger to shadows. When needed, he walks unseen. Heaven's general, disguised. One light was left behind. A flame from Michael's sword, placed in the prison of the fallen. It neither burns nor fades. It is a warning and a promise that heaven does not forget. That one day, all shadows will kneel to that light. Their names were erased. Their children were silenced. But their influence lingered. From the shadows of Egypt to the palaces of Rome, from whispered spells to digital screens, they shaped empires. Michael remembers them. And soon, they will be judged. When the last trumpet sounds, it won't be a call for war, but for reckoning. Michael will rise for the final time, not to strike, but to divide. Light from dark. True from false. Bride from harlot. The cry has not yet sounded, but its echo is near. It is not over. The war that began with lust and rebellion, with beauty and deceit, still rages. But the commander remains. Michael, heaven's blade, stands between what was and what will be. His sword is drawn. And the time of the wives is running out. Though the fallen were bound and their wives scattered, their legacy was never erased. It was encoded. Buried within bloodlines, hidden in DNA, encrypted in spiritual patterns passed from parent to child. The story wasn't just written in stone. It was written in flesh. And Michael knew their redemption or destruction would come through the blood. Long after the flood, the women who once knew angels built altars in secret places. Altars not to God, but to those who defied him. Here they called to imprisoned spirits. Here they passed down rituals too dark to speak. And though centuries have passed, some altars still stand, waiting. Michael is not bound by earth or heaven alone. He walks in realms unseen, through veils of fire, across dimensions too vast for man to measure. And through every realm he carries the same purpose: to sever what is cursed from what is holy, and to guard the flame that never dies. There was an oath, made before time. When the rebellion first began, the archangels vowed, "Let no corruption remain unjudged. Let no union with darkness go unopposed." Michael's scroll bears the names of those who violated the design, angels and women alike. The time to open that scroll is coming. There are caves where no sunlight has ever reached. Within them, sounds echo that no human tongue can form. These are the places where the spirits of the fallen's wives still call, bound not by chains, but by regret. Some seek release. Others, vengeance. Revelation's Scarlet Woman is not just symbolism, she's legacy. A descendant of the first corruption. She rides through history, cloaked in empire and religion, drinking from the cup of rebellion. Wherever she rides, civilizations fall. And Michael watches her path with fire in his eyes. There is a gate in the spirit realm, sealed since the fall. Behind it, the last remnants of the forbidden unions cry out for release. But heaven sealed it for a reason. And Michael was appointed as its guardian. He does not blink. He does not rest. The Watchers once ruled by deception, but heaven had the final word. A decree was made. Never again would the sons of God descend to take daughters of men. That decree was carved in time itself, and Michael was its enforcer. Not all brides are false. A remnant, pure and holy, has waited in silence. She wears no scarlet. She drinks no lies. Her light is not her own but heaven's. She is the counterbalance to the scarlet bride. And Michael fights for her crown. In the end, all masks fall, all secrets fade. Michael, heaven's fire, God's warrior, will be revealed not as myth but as truth. He will stand before earth and heaven, sword raised high. And with one voice he will declare, "It is finished." The wives of the fallen will face their final dawn. There will be silence, one final breath before eternity begins. The war will be over. The scrolls closed. And the children of rebellion judged. But for those who chose truth, grace and light, Michael will lead them not to battle, but into glory. Not all will enter glory. Some will remain outside the gate they mocked. And eternity will be divided, not by hate but by choice. The story of the wives was never just about angels, it was about allegiance. And where yours lies will determine your forever. The final scene is not a battle, but a decision. The scroll is closed. The time for choosing ends. And Michael, once covered in ash and flame, now stands clean, glowing, a testimony to God's justice and His mercy. Those who remained faithful, those who resisted the whisper, will walk a new path. No longer in shadow. No longer pursued. The curse is broken. The wives are judged. And the true children of heaven rise hand in hand with angels. From the beginning, this was never about angels, or women, or wrath. It was about the glory of the one who cannot be defied. The story belongs to him. Michael was only the sword, the flame, the servant. And in the end, all knees will bow not to angels but to God. Above the chaos of earth, the firmament holds echoes of the first rebellion. Stars bear witness and constellations still sing the songs of angelic war. Michael listens, for every sound in the heavens carries a message. And some are cries of warning. They remember the forbidden love, the secrets shared in the dark. These daughters, descendants of the angelic unions, hold knowledge not passed in books. They carry the ache of their mothers, and the rage of their fathers. And some still wait for the return of the watchers. Before judgment falls on the world, it begins with the faithful. Michael's sword first strikes where truth was preached, and then twisted. For even among the chosen, the lies of the fallen wives have taken root. It is not the world that trembles first, but the church. Every act, seen or hidden, is recorded in the archives of heaven. And when Michael enters that place, it is not to read but to refine. Fire does not destroy truth, but reveals it. And some scrolls once thought sealed forever must now be opened. It is one of the oldest scrolls in the divine vaults. It bears no condemnation, only record. These were the wives of the fallen. Their names, forgotten by men but never by heaven. And their fate still waits to be decided. The flood came to wash them away. But not all were lost. The waters remember the cries of the Nephilim, the wails of the women, the roar of angels falling. And when the stars align again, the waters may speak once more. It was placed there after the fall, not to punish but to protect. The flame that guarded Eden once. Michael forged it. Its fire carries the memory of innocence, and the warning against defilement. He still wields that flame, for Eden is not just a place, it is a standard. Creation groans, not just from human sin but from ancient rebellion. The earth remembers the blood spilled, the secrets buried, the covenants broken. And now, with the veil thinning, the earth itself begins to cry out. Michael hears it, and he answers. They were thought destroyed. But what if they weren't? The Nephilim, offspring of heaven and earth, were wiped out by flood and sword. But whispers say their seed remains. Hidden, quiet, influencing nations, commerce, even faith. And when they rise, Michael will not hesitate. Not forged by man or angel, Michael's sword is inscribed with the breath of God. It cuts through falsehood, illusion, and pride. It does not wound, it reveals. And when he lifts it above the nations, the air itself trembles. For truth is always violent to lies. Beneath the world of men lies another world, built not by angels but by those who learned from them. These are the remnants of rebellion, women and men who guard ancient knowledge, waiting for their moment. Michael watches, and when their moment comes, so will his. There is a night written in prophecy when the moon will burn red and the serpent's daughters will rise again. On that night, offerings will be made and ancient names will be spoken. But they will not rise in power, for Michael will already be there. Not all scrolls are meant to be read by angels or men. Some are seen only in the presence of the Holy One. And within one such scroll is written the final fate of the women who loved angels. Michael has read it, but he does not speak of it, yet. There are moments when even heaven's strongest kneels, not in defeat but in sorrow. Michael has seen too much, fought too long, and while his strength is undiminished, his heart carries every soul that fell by the serpent's lie. He weeps silently. Not all judgments are shouted. Some are sung. There is a harp in heaven whose music ushers in judgment, not with rage but beauty. When it plays, all masks fall, all veils tear. And Michael is the one who plucks the first string. There exists a book not written in ink but in blood. The testimony of those who defied heaven and bore witness to it. Each page tells the story of a union heaven never intended. And Michael reads from it, not in vengeance but in justice. For every drop of blood has a voice and it cries out from the pages. Not all born from the fallen were evil. Some were cursed, but innocent. Children of the breach. Caught between heaven's silence and earth's suspicion. Michael sees them, not as enemies but as orphans of a spiritual war. And for some he fights, not to destroy but to redeem. The serpent's voice never stopped, it just changed its form. From Eden to Babylon to today the same whisper echoes, you can be like God. The wives of the fallen believed it. Their children preached it. But Michael was forged to answer it, with steel. The pit, the prison of the fallen, is not held shut by stone or fire, but by a chain blessed by the breath of God himself. And Michael is its keeper. He checks its strength. He watches for stress. Because one day the chain will tremble. And the world will feel it. There was a moment, before judgment, before wrath, when even heaven waited. God's voice was still. The angels watched. The earth held its breath. And Michael stood in place, sword sheathed. Because sometimes silence is not absence, it's preparation. The silence is broken. The voice has spoken. And Michael draws his sword again, not in wrath but in finality. The era of mercy is ending. And for the wives of the fallen judgment is not postponed, it is now. They built altars in every age, on hills, in cities, beneath temples. But heaven has had enough. Michael leads the charge, shattering every altar that bears the name of the fallen. And with each broken stone, a curse is undone. It doesn't come gradually. It rips. Like cloth under pressure. The sky splits, and heaven is no longer distant. The watchers, the brides, the hidden ones, all must now face the unfiltered glory of God. And Michael stands between the realms, sword raised. Judgment is not chaos, it's courtroom. The wives of the fallen stand in spirit before the Ancient of Days. And Michael, heaven's prosecutor, lays the scroll upon the altar. No rage. No vengeance. Just truth. And in that courtroom fire does not consume, it reveals. They saw it. They spoke of it. But they died waiting. Now the witnesses awaken. Prophets of old. Martyrs of faith. Saints who stood against the lies of the fallen. They rise, not to fight but to testify. The courtroom of heaven is full. Time has come. Some plead. Some curse. Some fall on their faces. But all must speak. The wives who once chose angels over obedience now stand exposed. Their beauty fades. Their secrets unveiled. Heaven does not accuse. It simply shows what always was. And Michael watches. The judge speaks only once. No gavel falls. No thunder sounds. Just a scroll, and a decision. Some names vanish into light, redeemed. Others into shadow, condemned. It is finished. And Michael lowers his sword. No war ends without cost. Ash falls like snow, soft and final. Michael stands silent. Not in victory, not in celebration, but in reverence. The rebellion is over. And the story that began with desire ends in dust. There will be no reopening. No second trial. The gate to this chapter is shut. Behind it lie rebellion, angels, and corrupted glory. Before it, a new world. Michael turns, sword sheathed. The door is closed. Eternity begins anew. And so heaven sings a new song. One of justice fulfilled, of rebellion ended, of love that never gave up. Michael, once warrior, now worshipper, lifts his face to the light. The war is over. The throne still stands. And heaven rejoices. It began with a scroll and so it ends. The record of this rebellion is not erased, but sealed. For it is holy to remember what heaven has endured and triumphed over. Michael seals the chamber. The scars remain, but so does the throne. He does not march this time. He walks. With each step the weight of battle falls away. The mountain knows his name. It is not the end of Michael's mission, but a moment of peace. And heaven receives its champion once more. Here flows the river of memory, not to torment but to teach. Its waters tell every story without distortion. And those who gaze in its depths see what was and why it must never be again. Michael stops, watches, and continues walking. They are not judges. They are witnesses. They have guided creation through chaos. And now they gather to hear Michael's report. Not in words but in spirit. For truth needs no speech in heaven. It only needs light. There was a time when beauty fell. When stars thought themselves suns. That star, brilliant, proud, was the first to fall. And in its wake came others. But Michael never followed. He remembers the fall, so none forget. Not all watchers rebelled. Some remained. Silent. Faithful. Watching. They guard the gates unseen, walking among men as shadows of light. And when the time comes again, they will act. For Michael is not alone. It does not ring often. Only at the end of ages. But now it trembles. Not to mark judgment but transition. One age has passed. Another begins. And Michael, once warrior, now shepherd, prepares for what's next. It is not the old Eden. It is something more. A new beginning. Born from blood, fire, and grace. The garden rekindled, not hidden but restored. And at its edge stands Michael, not guarding it, but welcoming those made worthy. He comes not as a warrior but as the Lamb. His face, hidden in brilliance, needs no introduction. All of heaven bows. Even Michael lowers his gaze. For all things are through him and all judgment belongs to him. The shadows are gone. Not pushed aside but consumed by light. There is no longer any hiding, any fear, any curse. The sky sings. The earth rests. And Michael breathes a breath he never thought would come. It is the song only sung once per eternity. The song of completion. Of judgment ended and peace established. It vibrates through every soul, every planet, every realm. And Michael listens, his eyes closed, his purpose fulfilled. Even angels rest. And Michael, heaven's shield, deserves peace. The war is over. The rebellion is no more. And now in the quiet of paradise he lays down his blade, not forever but for now. This was not myth. Not metaphor. It happened. And it will be told. For every generation, every soul who doubts the cost of rebellion or the power of grace. The scroll is not finished. But the battle is. Michael lives. And the story continues.